Fans.
There you go.
Hi, Joe fans. Welcome to episode 38, the Monumental Waste of Time world premiere. I'm Karen from Philly. We're back. Even though we've done 2 other episodes you don't know about, they're in the hopper and they might come out. At this point, I want to introduce everybody that's here because it's an all-star cast. First, of course, we're going to introduce the original co-host of MWOT, A+.
Hello, darling.
Hi, how are you?
Fantastic. I'm so excited to do another MWOT.
The people might not know, we don't hate each other anymore, right?
For the most part, no.
Okay.
No, of course we don't.
All right, very cool. Also here is mega popular and very cool MWOT regular, Steve Rees. And unbelievably, we have back on the show, KarenPhilFan.
Great to be back.
Talk about
It's been
it.
a long time.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. Excited about this.
Are you like a little nervous because you might
I
delve in?
am nervous
Okay.
because I'm not professional.
Well, there's a big problem with me doing a show about, pardon?
Can you speak up?
Oh, sure. There's a big problem with me doing a show about Joe Matarese. I don't like him anymore or follow him. And I don't know what he's up to.
We really don't have any idea what's going on about him.
I have no idea. Steve, what's going on with Joe right now?
I know very little. I saw recently that he had a TikTok where he talked about Ellisburg Circle in New Jersey. So he's on a global platform talking about something that's strictly Cherry Hill, New Jersey related, which is kind of what I've been railing against for many years, not just in Joe, but in so many people who take part on this platform. And I just don't understand it. What does he expect to attract? What kind of attention? Does he expect to go viral among people he went to high school with?
Well, I think while you were talking, and I have ADD, so I wasn't listening. I'm sorry, but I know it's important. What I thought best is that I should update everybody. We should all update everybody on where we are with Joe right now.
Okay. Do you want me to go first?
Yes.
I'm where I've always been for the most part. Don't care. Whatever. Like, I hope he's doing great. I hope his life is wonderful. I'm very glad to be out of the Joe Matarese business. And it doesn't seem like he's really doing anything that's notable at the moment anyway. And maybe that's his choice to be private citizen right now.
By the moment, you mean the 21st century?
Oh,
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, I mean, his life and career are failures. But we want
That's
to.
hardcore. That's a little too rough. Maybe it's been too long. I'm not holding the same feelings for him that I used to, the rage and disgust. But the man has beautiful children. He has a family. So that's not a failure. That's a win. That's another win for the Joe.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
we'll call it that.
okay.
A win for the Joe.
Okay. Well,
Here we go. Now we're talking.
Okay. Well, I don't want to come in that hard, where I'm assigning him as being a failure, even though I probably think he is. What I'm actually, what I want to update everyone is that, like, Joe is the dom in our relationship, and I'm the sub. And right now, he doesn't talk to me at all. And it's really harsh. He has embarrassed me in public forums and public chats by speaking the truth and telling how I betrayed him. And he doesn't really talk to me because of that. For instance, in December, I wanted to go see him do stand-up comedy by myself or with a friend at a theater located near my house. And I wrote him and respectfully said, "Hey, Joe, I want to come to this event. I'm just checking with you first. It's not going to be any kind of like old school, like Karen antics or anything like that." And he totally ignored me. So,
Did you also ask him for a ride home from there?
No, are you talking about? Oh, okay, I see. No,
Well, you didn't, or you did?
no, I can walk home from that one. I don't, how I get home should not be such a big focus in everything I do in life. Why is how I get home so
actually
important?
true.
It's unbelievable.
It is important.
It's
We will get
unbelievable
into that.
throughout my whole life how important and bizarre it is about how I'm going to get home.
I'm sorry, I should have
Yeah.
derailed your story like that.
But if you did mention that in an email or any kind of communication you had with Joe at that time, maybe that creeped him out in some way, and he kind of had a reason to ignore the email. I still think it wasn't very polite. But is it possible that
We will, if possible, I will put the original email communication. I will put that somewhere where people can find it in the glossary.
Now, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So, you wanted to go see someone who is performing. You would pay money to see that person.
a portion of
And-
which that person would receive?
Yeah. So, and he, I'm guessing, promoted this thing and said, hey, everybody in the world that can get there, please pay your money to come and hear me tell my jokes. Right?
Yeah.
But because of your former relationship with him, you felt like you had to warn him before you go.
It was a respect thing on my part.
Unnecessary, though.
No.
But you don't. But if you want to go see, just go. I understand what you're saying, and I think that's very nice. But if I were you, I would have still just gone and been like, Dick, I'm paying my money. Like,
It
you
was-
can't tell me not to go.
It was more of a friendly reach out. I wouldn't call it a warning based on what you had told me you said.
Yeah,
It was more like, hey, I'm gonna be there, and in case he would just reciprocate and be like, hey, I'll look out for you. I don't think it was like a warning. I don't think there was anything
no.
negative
There was no antics
intention.
planned.
Do you-
No,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I'm done.
Do you think he could have taken that as you were trying to hang out with him, or you wanted some sort of special attention?
Well, that would then kick back to when we did hang out. I
Right.
did hang out with him, and
Right.
he, well, let's not even go into it. We had a good time, and then he was like Jekyll and Hyde almost. And when I reached out to him in follow up when we hung out at the Borgata in Atlantic City, then when I followed it up like any friend would, he totally changed.
Well, yeah, because he was trying to use you to get attention from other places, and he didn't get the bump that he thought he was going to get from being on a stream hanging out with Karen from Philly.
No, we got 1,000 views. That's not a lot, but it's that video had 1,000
Okay,
views.
but it didn't translate into anything that was going to be profitable for him
Right.
long term. So
Well, he didn't try.
No, he did. You were backstage with him and hung out with him, and the two of you streamed that while he was parading you around like his little, like a little stuffed monkey on a keychain. I
That's
don't
so
know what
hot.
that means. And
That's so hot.
then he was done with you. So you were dismissed and rejected. Like, we've been trying to tell you for a solid decade now that the dude's an asshole.
Yep.
And that he was never going to be cool with you. So you shouldn't have expected anything else. And it's very kind that you reached out to him like that. But also look at it from a performer standpoint. Like, when you were performing stand-up comedy, and I was a huge fan, right? What if I had sent you an email and been like, hey, I'm coming to see you? What would you have thought? I know what you would have thought. Don't say it.
Okay.
So from his point of view, it may have been like an odd thing. Like, you could just go. You don't have to. Like, I understand because he thought that you were like live streaming to RedBar the one time, and he accuses you of all these things that only exist in his head. So I understand why you did that. But from his point of view, he could have been like, so, okay, I don't give a shit if you're coming or not.
Yeah, I think his silence was also a sign of his fear of like this whole thing starting up again by even replying to your email message.
Right.
And so if I do not reply to her email message, maybe everything will just stop. If I reply, then it's all going to start up again, whatever that is in his mind.
But when the trolling calmed down, he he would say, "Where are my trolls?
Where's all the trolls? Where's Danny Woodward?
This is my actual cell phone
Because that's
number.
the
Right.
only
Call me."
activity he has.
Yes. Yes, please call me.
So does he really have a fear of that all starting over again? Or
When I I don't know how to troll, but I somewhat trolled him when he was on Kevin Brennan, right?
Hold on.
I super chatted him.
I want to get a T-shirt with that look on it, and it says, "I don't know how to troll," right? Okay, yeah.
So I super chatted him just to be like, yo, we're still here.
Yeah.
We're watching you. You know what I mean? And I forget what my point was. Oh, he acted like annoyed, but at the same time, he was glad to get the attention because that gave him then 5 minutes to talk about you and to talk about all of the things that had been going on. So he can act like he doesn't like it, but he loves it. Because then it's all about Joe.
He loves it until it makes trouble for him. Until
Right.
Someone calls and cancels the show.
I disagree.
Nobody
with
did
everyone.
that.
I
Karen
disagree with
PhilFan, I'm
everyone.
sorry.
None of you guys did that, but there were other people who did that.
Who did it?
Inspired by maybe the show.
Wait,
I don't know who did it exactly.
Somebody actually canceled Matarese shows?
Yeah, right?
Are you talking about Mike David from RedBar?
I don't know if it was him.
Because I just had to make this distinction to someone else the other day. When Mike David was calling clubs pretending to be Joe Matarese, he was actually trying to get on stage.
I don't
That's
think that it was
interesting.
only
That's really-
Mike David who did it. I
No.
think there were other people who were actually calling the
Like,
venues.
Just random
Canceling-
anonymous people.
Exactly.
That could
Inspired
be.
by this,
Well,
Right,
look, I don't know about that. Okay, I remember being upset. I remember where I was. Like people remember where they were when Kennedy got killed. I remember where I was.
When RedBar was calling clubs as Joe
Yes,
Matarese,
I was very hurt at the time.
he tried to get him stage time.
I know,
It's
but
something we
you
all
don't know
forget.
how much that makes me like blanch. Like it's blanche. It's like it's like if you've been in comedy, the fact of someone like pretending to be you interacting with clubs is hard enough. But
All right. Well, it was a
but
shitty
listen,
thing to do.
listen. I don't think that
Either
any
way.
of Joe's, and we want to get Steve involved, but I don't think that any of Joe's feelings right now should be questioned. I think he's done if anything, he's done an incredible job of. He doesn't have ulterior motives. He doesn't want the trolls. He has walked away from this life and done everything in his power to walk away from this life. So I don't believe that he has some like hidden fascination with this.
So you think he's chosen obscurity on purpose?
Yes.
safety for safety reasons.
Yes. In fact, Joe, your next tour is called the Obscurity Tour. Okay. So anyway, no, I really believe that Joe is honestly like the reason why that he has distanced himself from this life is because he can't control it and he doesn't understand it.
I think it's more the latter.
Yeah, agreed.
He doesn't understand how anything works. I mean, I've said that a million times.
Yeah, that's been your mantra like through this.
And there's no learning curve at all. So he can learn, so you can have the opportunity to learn from past experiences, bad choices, but he still makes the same errors over and over again. I've never seen somebody who does not learn at all, ever.
Well, it traces back to the NBC deal always. That's like we suck off the teat of the NBC deal in terms of, our interest and our fascination with Joe's inability to affect commerce in a positive manner. But what we really want to do, so anyway, we're here to talk about Joe and annoy him. So no, I'm kidding, Joe.
And you just said you've never seen anyone not learn before.
Yeah.
Here we are.
No.
Here we are on
No.
MWOT.
Yeah. No, I don't want to annoy Joe. I don't want to manipulate social media. I don't want to do any of the things that I've been accused of by Twitter. I just want everyone to get along. It's all I ever wanted. And I wanted the best for Joe, the best for Mike, and the best for the audience.
I just want
Sure.
Joe to learn. I think that's why I'm here. I want to be loud and clear about things and opportunities that he could have taken to actually learn from. And we're trying to actually
All right,
help him
all
do
right.
that.
But
And
you're in a room with people who have tried to do this.
Right,
Oh yeah, because I'm no longer trying to help him.
we know very well that
Yeah.
it's impossible. It's like
Yeah.
it's like talking to a totem pole.
That
yeah,
was the
it has
whole
a
point.
face.
It's true.
Yeah.
But
That's
it's
it's
just
astounding.
Yeah,
But maybe
I love him still.
because he's had a little bit of a break from this, perhaps he may be able to finally, I don't know,
Well,
no, at
different.
his age,
be different.
it's a
I know,
lost
you're
cause.
right. You're absolutely
how
right.
old is he?
Oh, he's
Close to 60.
Close
58.
to 60.
Yeah, he's 58.
58. Yeah.
50s, be 58.
Well, I'm indebted to Joe for a number of reasons.
You shouldn't be indebted to him at all. For what?
Well, he helped me in a real bad time in my life. Definitely, I was suffering from paranoia really bad, and his podcast, which was self-help in nature, really made an impact on me. And I believed in him, and and his story resonated with me. So that's where the whole podcast started out. But Joe Matarese told me, or no, he was announcing it to the ether, but it was to me. Was like, do your own thing. Because I didn't start him with false flags. I was really into him. But I did glom onto his audience. And I did
He
glom
doesn't
on.
have an
Yeah.
audience. You
Yeah.
created your audience from your work. He didn't have
That's
an
true.
audience for you to climb onto.
His
Trust me.
audience did, both of them got involved in our comment sections and
Yeah.
stuff when we were on. So
Your audience, the one that you earned, maybe some of them went to him only because of curiosity.
Well, I don't know. Okay, so his aura, I sort of.
oh my god, his aura.
Not a word
You
to
know
use.
this.
I
Around.
manifested his aura, and created a podcast about him, which was quasi brilliant at the time. I don't think that's even ever gone on since, a podcast about somebody. But
Well, now
now what do we have? What
we
happens?
have so
Okay, go ahead.
many,
Go ahead,
so
go
many podcasts.
Okay, so I'm a
But
pioneer.
here's the difference. You
Yeah.
are a pioneer.
Yeah.
Both of us are, because A+
Yeah.
was there as well.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So, but now, yeah, at the time, there was Mike David, whose entire life is talking about other people, right? His entire show.
I love that.
Our show may have been one of the first where we just focus on one person and just talk about them.
At
But
the time,
now
okay.
that's a whole genre, and it's big. But the difference is we were never trying to hurt Joe Matarese in any way. We never lied. We never took clips of him and played them and then twisted it all up and said things out of context. And we tried to help him a lot.
All of the criticism was in good faith.
All good faith. And what exists now is ridiculous people trying to ruin other people's lives. There's a lot of shows now on YouTube where they will pick one person and they will just say outlandish shit and rip them apart and just be horrible and literally try to ruin people's lives. And that was never what we did.
So I just want to clarify. We started this. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
As far as I know, I don't know what else was out
yeah,
there.
no, I think we did. It's okay. It's happened to me before in other mediums, but
what we did was just actually focusing on a subject and talking about it and telling the truth about it
critically,
and
okay, now I understand.
and also we weren't on YouTube and didn't get any freaking super chats, so it's way different now. People are out for blood now, and we were just like
Doing a lighthearted show. as they say.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
did. I'm kidding. I was just trying to figure it out. Like I didn't know. I'm unaware. I don't know if we want to go into what I'm doing now. It's exciting, but not for this. But I didn't know about the current internet climate other than what I see on Reels. So if we helped kick that off, that's cool. But um, I don't really know.
Ah!
See, I would agree with what you just said there, Plus.
Thank you.
I think you guys and the Jocktober segment on Opie and Anthony many years ago opened up this genre of focused criticism.
Yeah, see, I didn't like the little. I never listened to Opie and Anthony. I was raised stern. You know what I mean? But I did hear about the Jocktober thing, and I saw something about how the guy from wrestling, the Sam guy, was torturing like an old lady who just had a little radio show. I thought, and that was Jocktober.
Well,
I thought that was ridiculous.
That was part of it. I know what you're talking about, and I think we're leaving people in the dust here. You're talking about, I can't remember her name, Terry Clifford in Rochester.
Mm.
And a particular jock that they leaned hard on in their criticism. And
But
she
why
found it
do
difficult.
that?
Yeah, no, I know. I'm not saying ruin somebody's life.
Go ahead. No, I'm kidding. Okay, I'm sorry.
Did I miss something?
No.
But you're saying Jocktober, everybody's influenced by Jocktober,
Yes.
and maybe that's why everybody is such an evil demon.
I think
now.
that's where the venom comes from, because that was the heart of the ONA subreddit. And you guys found an audience of not like-minded people, but people like-minded to the ONA, the toxic ONA subreddit.
I don't talk about the ONA
Wow.
subreddit because bad things happen to you.
But we love everyone. We're not, we're not questioning that. We love everybody. But what I'm hearing here is that there's this other universe that has spawned, and we played some part in that.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay, so I mean that's great.
Even though the people that are doing it now, when they get made aware of what we were doing, they're like, yeah, whatever, who cares? And
No,
you're
yeah.
old and you suck.
Like who? I mean, we're here. Like who?
Well, you know, you want me to take this? There is somebody who was talking about watching the Porsalin documentary that most of us are in on Joe Matarese. And he was saying, yeah, I saw this other guy was talking about the Porsalin documentary, and I rewatched that, and I remembered that there was all this going on. And in that same episode, basically the same breath, he said there has never been a podcast just about Joe Matarese.
Wow.
How can you have seen those documentaries and not be aware of MWOT?
Well, who is that person? I want to call him right now.
All right, let's just do it. Blind Mike. Blind's Mike.
Okay.
And that's all I know about him.
Okay.
I don't watch Blind Mike. He might be fine.
I have a deep admiration for visually impaired people. So I just want to make sure that we're not criticizing him.
He calls himself Blind
His name
Mike.
is Blind Mike. It's not like his show is called Hey, I'm Mike, and I'm calling him Blind Mike.
I just want to say that in my particular case, I have a deep admiration for visually impaired people.
Why?
Because it's very gutsy.
What if they're blind but they're an asshole?
Well, that's fine. I don't care about that. But it's a very gutsy thing to go about.
To walk around blind?
Yeah, but you don't earn blindness. Despite the old wives' tales, you don't earn blindness.
Okay.
It's not an achievement.
Well, he said that to bother you. So he touched your buttons.
No.
No.
He said that offhandedly. No one prompted
Yeah,
him.
he wasn't like. He said that.
He knows. Trust me. He knows.
I don't think that the people who are doing this currently dig as deeply into Joe's life as we had done. back
they
then.
sure don't.
And they sort of skim the surface and don't do as much work because no one would ever do as much work as A Plus and Karen from Philly did on Joe. So they skim the surface and they don't, want to spend as much time,
No,
but they want to have
why
that
would
show.
he say specifically there's never been a podcast?
Because they didn't really look into things.
Right.
That's what was his response to you?
But when
No,
when
he
Blind
said that
Mike
on
was made
his
aware, when he was made aware of Monumental Waste of Time
By who?
by A
By
Plus,
me, I'm A plus. You think I'm gonna just let that slide? I had to go and make a comment.
Did you do it on the show or
Oh,
chat?
no, the show is over. I saw it. This is after the fact. I saw
Okay.
it. So I went on his YouTube page and made a comment on that show. I forget what I said, but it was kind of like, "Hey, dickhead, I'm right here, and I created this thing years ago."
Okay, so he's trying to get your goat.
No,
No.
he has no idea I exist. He
And-
doesn't
and-
know anything about it.
but he does
He
because he
knows-
saw you.
Guys, I'm
yeah,
trying.
he
he
saw the
heard your
porcelain.
voice.
Okay, but he's not looking
But
for a
MWOT
gotcha with the MWOT people.
MWOT is a center point, a centerpiece.
Listen,
Of that
it's,
first
Maybe
act.
It's not even
It
that.
depends on how you watch it.
no.
Maybe not. Maybe someone wouldn't pick up on that if they didn't know what
Yeah.
it is, and they would just listen to Porsalin's brilliant documentary
But here,
without
No,
even
listen to me. Listen to me,
processing
guys.
without
guys.
processing.
because they don't want to work that hard. Oh, they keep talking about this
Right.
M1 thing, but whatever.
They're
No.
just looking for the Joe Matarese
People do
goof
that.
okay,
that they can exploit and make fun of. They're
Right,
not
quick.
doing a deep dive on
Right,
Joe Matarese.
exactly.
you
That's
might be onto something here, but I think that's dereliction of duty. Because if
Of
I
course
was
it
doing a
is.
show where I talked about somebody, and I find out that person had an entire series of podcasts done about, I would want to hear every second of that
of course.
because that's potential
There's a
material.
lot of
for
work
me to
to do
comment
that,
on.
and people aren't doing that. And I hear a lot of people
But
covering
that's all he has
Joe.
to do is he
I
can't
just
see
wanna-
anything. That's all
Can
I
I
have to do is listen.
please-
Yeah, it's hours. Of
Half the job
listening.
is off the table. Sorry.
No, everything is chill. I just want to say that we don't need, and I love Porsalin, and his documentary is
Brilliant.
incredible.
He did.
But-
He did the work.
Yeah.
Actually, Porsalin is a good example of someone who worked extremely hard and looked at almost everything or everything. And I mean, he's the opposite of what I'm saying.
But Mike
Really.
doesn't need Porsalin's documentary to know this about MWOT. He knows about it.
No, he does.
He
If
does.
he ever
Fuck
knew, he
Blind Mike,
didn't
okay?
care.
Yo, dude, I'm telling you, he knew about it. For him to say the sentence, "There's never been," he knew about
Why
it.
would he say that? Who
I
are we
disagree.
to him? I really
And I don't
believe-
care if people know about it. That's not what I'm saying.
No,
I'm
that's
saying
not what
that
I'm saying
person,
either.
Oh.
sight unseen, and I didn't mean that like that way.
Can we just pause and I'd like to talk about the immense respect and admiration and reverence I have for the unsighted community. People keep saying blind, and I'm deeply offended.
I know. I said
That was
visually
such a
impaired.
brave life choice for him to make.
Oh,
so don't
incredible.
worry.
I said
Incredibly
visually impaired.
Incredibly.
Okay.
I'm visually impaired too. I'm gonna.
Look. I don't need props for that.
No, but he was
when
looking
I
for
can-
props.
When I hear that though, I want to step in and let you know that Blind Mike, in all his processes, knew about MWOT, and that's all I'm going to say. If we want to call him, if we want to call him or loop him in or any kind
So
of
then
anything,
why did he say that then? Just to kind of just get people started, to get a reaction?
because I'm sure that he generates revenue off this endeavor of his. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's
I
a
mean,
So
YouTuber.
his interests are lying in not deflecting any kind of thing like that, in absorbing that. And that was always one of the things we didn't do by happenstance, actually. We didn't go into MWOT as a revenue generating source. And we missed sort of the salad days of creating that. But there's no regrets.
Okay. I'm going to disagree with you, and we don't have to talk about Blind Mike anymore. I don't know anything about Blind Mike.
I don't know
beyond
that.
this.
The only thing I know about Blind Mike is that he knew about the existence of it.
I don't. But even if he did, there's every possibility that he forgot when he made that statement.
That's totally fine.
I don't think
He didn't
Blind
forget.
Mike is thinking about MWOT when he's talking about Joe Matarese.
He's not, but he
He's-
knew about it. But it was more important for him to act like to you that he didn't know about it.
Well, why? What's it? Why?
To put you in your place, to establish everything that's going on.
But he
that he's
said
involved
this
in a-
before
Okay.
So he made that comment that there hasn't been that there's never
Did
been
he
a
say
podcast.
he didn't know about RedBar?
No,
No,
he
he
said there's never
regularly-
been a
Okay,
podcast
so he knew about that.
He
Joe
regularly invokes the name Mike Davis.
Yeah, so he
when
knew
I
about
made
that.
I made a comment on his thing. I was like, hey, just so you know, there pretty much really was a podcast about Joe Matarese because I helped create it. And here's where you can find it. And whatever. I'm not looking for anything from anybody. I'm not looking for props from Blind Mike. I'm correcting what he said because I'm always gonna stand up for the thing that I was involved in. So hey, you're
Blind
talking
Mike-
about Joe Matarese and you don't know that this thing is here, and this may be something that you can get some information
No,
from if you
I
want to
will
keep
school
clowning
you
on
on
Matarese.
this right now.
School me, baby.
Okay. Blind Mike is not going to be the source of MWOT acknowledgement. Porsalin is going to be the source of MWOT acknowledgement, like he did numerous times, and that's why we love Porsalin.
Mhm.
Okay, but Blind Mike is on some other shit. Okay.
Yeah, Blind Mike is in 2025, and now there's a whole new universe of people that are doing this thing that we were never that like we're so old school.
Right.
You know what I mean? We were on Facebook.
So
for
we're not
Christ's
going to
sake.
get our right. We're not going to get our props that way.
But
we can get them here
props.
now.
I don't need props. I'm still
Okay.
A+.
All right, we can get them here now if we want. I don't know. That's not why I did this, but we can get them here now. I'm just telling you, and I didn't know it was going to be about this. Blind Mike knew about the.
Why do you keep saying you have no way of knowing that? You have no. Did you?
We want to get in touch with this guy right now.
No. Okay, call Blind Mike.
Okay. How do we do that? Do we have a cell?
You can't just call
Okay.
Blind Mike, and it
No,
doesn't matter.
people have
It
tried to
super
connect me with
doesn't
Blind Mike
matter.
before. I don't know Blind
Who
Mike.
tried to connect you
I don't
to
know.
Blind Mike?
There's some other dude. Listen. That's not my point. That's not my point here. That's so not my point here.
Okay, what is the point?
The point is
Because I have a concern.
I need
Go
a
ahead,
cigarette.
My concern is that we're going far off into the weeds here with Blind Mike stuff
Yeah, let's not. I'm sorry.
that
I'd rather-
folks may not know about, and maybe we haven't explained.
Everybody go check out Blind Mike. It's called the
The
Blind
Blind
Mike.
Mike Project.
Project.
Yeah. And
So,
I
yeah.
am a Blind Mike viewer, and I like what he does. I like the way he lays out what he talks about. I like the way he does his show.
Yeah, you're a fan, right?
I am.
Blind Mike. I just want to quickly ask you to drop the veneer and just say, yeah, I watched Porsalin's documentary and I knew there was like something about, and I'm also a RedBar watcher, and I knew that like there was MWOT, but I don't want to give them credit or any kind of acknowledgement. That's cool, dude. But don't sit here and tell her there was never a podcast about it.
He didn't say it
That's
to me.
I don't care who he said it to. I don't care if he told the Washington Post. It's like,
He put it. He had one of those airplanes with the banner behind him and flew it down the
I
Jersey
don't-
Shore.
Look, I like the
Yeah, there
guy.
we go.
I like the guy. That's not about that. But I mean, don't
But if people
insult us.
don't know that there was a podcast about Joe Matarese, then it's totally acceptable. Because why would you think that there was? You know what I mean? If you don't know who we are or what we did, which it
Because
wouldn't make
that's
sense
the
for people
shtick.
to know at this
That's
point.
the shtick
was almost
that
a
you're
decade
falling
ago.
for, and that's what really bothers me right
But
now.
why is Blind Mike is not trying to get a reaction out of me or you? We don't exist in Blind Mike's universe.
This argument is that word in the Rick Springfield song that you and Joe Matarese both hate.
Oh yeah, blah blah blah. Don't say the M word.
I won't.
Okay, look, we can move on.
Yeah, okay, let's move
I
on.
think that's
We can move
best.
on.
I think
We can
that's
move on. But I will just add for one last time that Blind Mike knew about the existence of MWOT.
All right,
don't
well,
care.
I know about the existence of Blind Mike, and he's donated. He's getting paid. I
Okay.
never did.
Okay, that's your okay. Okay, listen,
I
let
got
me
no beef
let me
with that.
go. Let me talk now. That's the real issue here.
No, it's not.
Yes.
That's my
No,
concern
it's
is that that's how this will be interpreted. Yeah.
Well, I don't care who interpret. I was joking, and that's a joke that I've made a million times on MY. But nobody listening now would know that because nobody remembers MWOT because it was almost a decade ago.
And
I
apparently,
never need to get paid.
apparently it's gone.
But before we get into that, I will say this. Something that we created that I worked ridiculously hard on every freaking day of my life. I worked. Listen, y'all, you don't even know. Can I talk to the audience for a second? Every time Joe Matarese opened his mouth or did a video or blah, 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 or tweeted or whatever, I had to consume that. And y'all may not remember things like Periscope.
I had to consume that.
And people were putting up 15 videos a day. Okay, I consumed all of that so I could report it to you, the listener. Okay, I did all of that. And now I see people going on YouTube, turning on the mic and being like, Ray DeVito's gay. And they're getting paid. Okay, so you understand, not that is a big, important thing for me, but there's this place, let's get it, you know what, fuck them, let's get into it. You ever heard of the Dabbleverse? These assholes are over here doing nothing but talking shit about each other and trying to ruin people's lives, taking all kinds of crap out of context, saying things that aren't true, spinning yarns for miles and miles and miles, and they get paid. But when people are actually putting in the work, actually reporting on something, actually doing the research and doing things in a positive way, there was no us getting paid. That didn't even exist at the time. So then, yeah, a little bit when Blind Mike was like, that never existed. Kind of, yeah, fuck Blind Mike. But at the same time, I'm realistic enough to be like, listen, we had a stupid little goofy thing on Facebook a decade ago. So nobody is going to know about that. And we missed the boat on YouTube and super chats. Okay, so a little bit it burns my ass, but realistically, not really. My life is great. I'm A+. They're not. Everything's fine. I'm going for a cigarette.
All right, I'll take the blame for us missing the boat on that whole thing.
I had already quit the show, so I wasn't going to get it anyway.
You quit the show, but you were a phone call away. Okay, just
and when she quit the show, I then was doing a tremendous amount of work.
Then.
So I guess
So
you then.
you're aware of the work.
I'm aware of the amount of work that I
the consumption of Joe Matarese.
Absolutely.
You know.
Every time he opened his mouth or appeared anywhere, and you had to watch it.
all right.
Yeah,
Well,
it's too
guys,
much, right?
Yep.
So it's don't say that I'm like
Right.
pissed off because I didn't get paid for
I
it.
can already see this will be
Because
the
I'm not.
thing. This will be the thing that ends up on WATP, and the what do you call it? The Chiron or whatever will say, jealous, bitter podcasters.
Yeah.
No, well, I'm
Crazy
not
old
that.
bitch loses
I
her
am
mind because she never
so
got paid.
not that, and I
Okay.
will help. I will help clear this up. Okay, I'm going to clear this up. The joy for me is the process, and A+ doesn't understand that. I'll bring her along. I'll tell her about it. The joy for me is the process. Like for me, like I like that. Like this and that spawned this and that. Like and MWOT spawned a lot in our personal lives. That was like really incredible. Okay, but
I'd agree to that.
yeah, but and so just like it spawned a lot in our personal lives, it also spawned a lot creatively. And we didn't start anything. Like we benefited from all before us. It's all part of the creative tree. So I like seeing all this around here. The point where she's upset, where A+ is upset about not getting the credit or maybe not getting financial rewards, and she's fine to have any of those kind of feelings. What really gets me is that for these people to say that, for the reasons they say that, be it money or their own acclaim, the problem for me with them doing that is that they're getting the story wrong. Okay? So why would you want to get the story wrong, Blind Mike? Why wouldn't you just want to be like, yeah, right around the time that RedBar started, but unrelated to that, this other podcast started? Because Mike David is the most brilliant person in this game, and he was able to recognize the truth and not be afraid to say this or that. So Porsalin and Mike David are the beacons of strength here the people that understood the game and understood that I wasn't doing this for monetary purposes ever, but the smartest people, Mike and Porsalin, were able to see the reality. These other people, they're tripping, or they have hidden agendas.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, absolutely. They're morphing reality to suit their narrative.
Right.
In a lot of cases.
So that's all. That was my only point with this show and A plus. And A plus is every right to be like, have an attitude. And that's her personality. That's beautiful.
That's why we love her.
Yeah. That's not why I'm coming at this like that. I just wanted to clear up the second I heard it, because I didn't believe it for 1 second that Blind Mike didn't know about MWOT, because he listens to RedBar and he watched the Porsalin documentaries. So why would you be that stupid to not want to know the truth? Like, I'm not saying, Blind Mike, you owe me $100, bro. Okay?
But not just the truth. MWOT was a goldmine of Matarese content for them to mine and use for their purposes.
Yeah, and they can. And Who Are These Podcasts did it, right?
Well, they did. They did play a clip from.
Who Are These Podcasts covered the Joe vs. Steve episode that our listeners know so well. Believe it or not, we had listeners, and they know the Joe vs. Steve battle very well. So that was covered in 2024 by a successful podcast called Who Are These Podcasts? And I did, I know you guys wrote them a little bit about, I wrote him on Twitter, the guy from Who Are These Podcasts, to say thanks. And I also said, I actually tried to contact you when we were doing it. And you somehow blew me off, but I didn't say it in an attitude way. I said, I actually tried to contact you when this was actually happening, because I couldn't believe they weren't that's almost like the Blind Mike story. I couldn't believe that Who Are These Podcasts wasn't covering MWOT. That blew my mind.
Could it be because RedBar was so much?
That's possible. That's possible. I didn't think of that. I
mean, I don't know.
You okay?
Yeah, you calm?
Yeah, sometimes I get a little hype and I have to go out for a cigarette.
No,
that was
the first
great.
time you stormed out of the studio.
I didn't storm. I just wanted to go have a smoke and come.
Okay, but you've done that before on MWOT.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
I kind of do.
Okay, well.
Go ahead.
No, I don't know. Yeah, there was a time, and anybody that was around 9 years ago listening to MWOT knows that we had tried to schedule a phone call with Joe to have him on the show. And he was like, no, it's too much. Like, I get too sad when all of your listeners are mean to me, and it's just bad for my mental health, and I don't want to do it. So, okay, cool. Now, what Joe couldn't have.
Yo, A plus.
We're talking about Joe. We're here for Joe.
No.
And then, you said the thing to me. You said those words. He's a celebrity.
Okay, yeah. No, okay. I'm thinking.
You were, always will be a much bigger celebrity than Joe Matarese could ever hope to be.
That is so true, and that's why he doesn't talk to you, because he has some sense. Even more sense than you think. That he knows how good you are.
If you believe that.
And that's probably the only thing he knows, because he really doesn't know anything.
I don't think he can conceive.
I don't think he can conceive how great. But I think he has some idea, because she's that good.
If Joe Matarese had ever been like, let me find out who this crazy trans person stalker is, and did a little dive on your background and what you've done in the world, he would have tried to be your best friend just so you could teach him how to do things.
You don't understand.
Right?
You guys don't understand.
But no, we have to talk to Joe. He's a celebrity.
No.
Just because you think he's a celebrity, I remember you saying that.
And you know what? And I'm gonna update that statement, because I did say that just because you think he's a celebrity. I don't care if he's a celebrity. How about that? I don't care who was calling in. You don't call in the middle of my show. This is my time. And after you said you weren't coming.
That's so much.
We have blind Mike on the line.
I call him. Look him up.
I don't
no.
think it works like that.
No,
Karen.
is he available?
What's his address?
Is he available online?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't have anything
No worries.
to do
I'll
with
take
the
care of it.
internet.
I'll take care of it.
I'm completely off the internet.
I will take care of it. I've got to get back into my voice. I will take care of it. But what I
There's
want to
nothing to
say,
take care
You will
of.
take Karen this.
yes.
Oh boy.
That should be your t-shirt.
The first thing I want to say is that Joe Matarese does not consider me a big celebrity because he's a star fucker. If he did, he would be all over me.
That's what I
No.
just said though.
Oh, okay.
But and he also is in
Okay. Steve-O, where we at, like, in terms of energy and flow?
Oh, I think it's flowing pretty well. I'm concerned that people might not know some of the references because we are kind of jumping all over the place. But
Let's fill in everybody on everything.
we're doing our best to
what references
keep
do we
everybody
make
on
that
the
people
same
would
page.
know?
Well, I'm not sure Blind Mike is.
No, I think it's great.
Well, you spoke about MWOT a lot before, and I had the same thought that Steve did. Tell us a little bit about MWOT. How many episodes did MWOT have that people aren't, kind of aware of that exists?
Thank you.
Yeah,
Karen
as you
Philfan.
watch what is clearly tagged MWOT episode 38,
Yeah.
let's tell you how many episodes.
Thank you, KarenFromPhilly. There was
Oh,
37
gotcha.
prior. 35 are available to the public at this time, although 32 is bootleg only.
Now, 36 and 37 are unavailable for what reason? I don't remember.
Just general Karen censorship. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they can be put out if, like, Pat Marr wants it.
It's all up to you, Pat Marr.
Yeah, if Pat Marr wants and what 36 and 7, I'm down. But what's wrong? Oh God, I'm in trouble over here.
You
What's
were a
wrong?
thumb twiddling.
Nothing, just
You're twiddling your thumbs.
Nothing.
You are literally twiddling your thumbs.
nothing. I'm just,
Okay.
we're in it to win it.
Yeah, no, I think this is going really well.
Yeah, of course.
What does that mean? Go ahead.
Well, when doesn't it?
Okay, all right,
I
very
mean,
cool.
it
I
always
don't know.
goes well. We do it.
Well,
We know what we're doing.
can I add something? I spent a long time, and I said this on my show, but I spent a long time wishing Joe well and thinking, hey, Joe, whatever you want to do, wish you all the success. I don't have a personal problem with you. I mean, I never said this to him, interacted. But that was my attitude. That was my general attitude.
I know where this is going now. Go ahead.
Not a bad guy, in my opinion, at that time.
Right, at that time.
At that time. But then he started doing a podcast, and he was interviewing up-and-coming comedians, and some of them attracting a lot of buzz, these comics. But he said that his interviewing was criticized, and he said that his interviewing wasn't very good because those guests were not famous enough for him to take an interest in.
Yeah.
And of all the things he's ever done, to me, that was the biggest piece of garbage
Yeah.
he had ever
That was
spoken.
the biggest peek behind the curtain, sort of. We had
Right.
done
That
And
was
that's who
one
Joe is.
indicator of who he is.
Right.
No. I have a confession right now that just came to my mind. One time, Luis Gomez.
Louis J. Gomez?
Yeah, Luis J. Gomez.
The Puerto Rican
I like
rattlesnake?
him. And he used to go on Periscope a lot. And he put on there, like, who should I invite to my show or something like that. And I was like, Joe Matarese. And I had, like, talked on Scope to Luis, like, once or twice, not a lot. And so, like, very soon after that, Luis J. Gomez did invite Joe to be on Real Ass. And Joe didn't go on because he had this thing of, like, he doesn't want to drive into the city to go on podcasts. And my confession is that, like, even though I don't think of Joe Matarese anymore, I actually did think about this like 3 or 4 days ago, and I was like, Stephanie probably told him no.
Here we go. Here we go.
Okay, Stephanie probably told him no, you can't do it. And that was a big opportunity for Joe to do Real Ass Podcast. I swear to God, it is.
A+, you're shaking your head no.
Every time. Every time. It comes back to you think that Stephanie holds him back in his career. No. I'm going to say it again. Hear my words. There is nothing more she could have done to support this man's career. She gave him all of the time, all of the space, the freaking attic. She gave him everything. She supported him. She showed her face on the AGT. She was on the other show with him. Didn't they win a show because she's supporting him?
Yeah.
What more could she have done? Write the jokes and do them for him? Maybe things would be better, maybe not. You can't say Stephanie is holding him back. Stephanie, if she was a smart woman, would have been like, all right, dude, it's been 30 years. How about this? Get a job. How about that?
I can't do anything else.
How about stop sitting around my big, beautiful house doing drugs all day while I'm at work and get a job? Do something or stick with something. How about this? Oh, you're starting another new podcast? If this doesn't last at least 6 months, I'm leaving you and taking your balls with me. That's what Stephanie should have done. But no, what she did was say, okay, Joe, here's some more money, Joe, for the dreams, Joe. All I'm asking, just make 70 grand. That's your nut. Your nut's 70 grand. Bring 70 grand into this house and everything's good. That's all she did. So,
well, those are all very good things.
Oh, but that's right. She said, hey, Joe, maybe stop talking about having sex with me while I don't even know what's going on because I'm asleep. Maybe don't talk about that. And you think that's holding back his career because that's the comedy gold that he was going to make it with? How I come in my room and my wife's already asleep, so I just kind of stick it in her. She don't even know. Come on, man. She said, don't say that crap.
Yeah.
All right. So is this?
Well, I just
you're sticking by it, right?
No, I'm very impressed by your passionate.
Listen, can I just explain one thing? I am very passionate today. I'm still all hopped up on watching Geno Bisconte fill in for Aaron on the Steel Toe Morning Show this morning. So I'm feeling a little Bisconte.
Okay.
All right. So I'm passionate. I'm Italian.
You have
I'm flaring up. I'm
non-sexual crush on Geno?
Yeah, a completely non-sexual crush on Geno.
Me too.
And it's weird, after I hated Geno for about 18 years, all of a sudden, dude's growing on me like a fine Parmesan.
Okay, I feel like we're 3 steps removed from where this diatribe began.
I'm sorry. I'm on a diatribe.
Can we talk about, you want to talk about Geno Bisconte?
Oh, eventually, if you want to.
Well, you brought him up, so I assume.
Well, I was just
saying,
I know I'm being loud and animated and very passionate today, but I'm just feeling my inner Bisconte. I was just explaining that.
Okay, now Geno is an ex-host on the Compound Network, Anthony Cumia's Compound Network.
Yes.
He had a show called In Hot Water.
Apparently so. Never saw it.
Yeah, we knew.
I saw clips of it.
But
here and there.
Karen, you know Geno.
I do know Geno. I don't know if he would pull a blind Mike and act like I don't exist, but
I don't think he would. He
okay.
seem like
No, I'm kidding. I love
knows.
Geno. Actually, I know he was a RedBar fool, but I love Geno. I've done about 3 or 4 comedy shows with Geno in my life, including Geno took me on the road one time from Philadelphia into a show in around Baltimore, which was really cool.
How did you get home?
All right, yeah, no. A girl that I was dating that drove. Well, Geno didn't have a ride to the show, and probably called around 8 other comics. Couldn't get a ride to Maryland on short notice, and so he called me, and I was able to convince my then girlfriend to drive Geno and me to a show in Baltimore. Um, and when we got there, Geno, who's very funny, I've never not seen Geno do well. When we got there, people were really into Geno. Like, I don't know if people know this, but like on the road in some of these smaller places, Geno is like royalty. People think of him as royalty. So he was like the man about town, and he was like, I'm going to put this person on. And I went on, and I didn't do well. Whatever reason, I don't know. But I really like Geno, and he's always done well, and he's always looked out for me in any given situation.
What I hear about Geno from everybody I know, I don't know Geno, but everyone I know who knows him, they all say that he was a really funny dude.
He's very funny, and he's very charismatic. He always has on his arm a good-looking young lady. And today, I was informed that this woman that he's hosting some show with on the internet, which is attracting viewers, she's his wife.
Yeah, Keanu.
Keanu, that's a pretty name.
AKA Kiki.
AKA Kiki. And what is the name? She told me that she's on OnlyFans, which is great. What's the nature of her OnlyFans? Do you know?
I'm not aware of that. I know that that's how she makes her living, or I believe that's how she.
You know the nature of Kiki's OnlyFans?
No, I don't know anything about anybody's OnlyFans. I don't know. I'm sorry.
But we were talking about Geno,
Yeah.
and you said you had
All right.
a turn of favor when it comes to Geno.
Yeah. So I first heard of Geno when he would come on WYSP or in the Kid Chris show that I would listen to because I was a fan of this like local goofball Danny Ozark. So
Local goofball.
I would always wait for Danny Ozark to come on the Kid Chris show, and Geno would be on a lot. And all I remember of Geno being on Kid Chris was he sort of annoyed me. I'm sorry, Geno. He sort of annoyed me, and it was always him hosting Quizzo somewhere. Oh, I'm hosting Quizzo at the blah, 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 blah. Catch me hosting Quizzo at, where was Quizzo?
Everywhere.
So, yeah, it was
Frontier.
a lot of that. And didn't you get bumped for Geno one
Well,
time?
I had the choice. Well, I'll explain that to you. I might have explained it on 36 or 37, but I'll explain it again. I was a popular guest on the Kid Chris show, which was mainstream major market radio in Philadelphia from like 06 to 09. No worries. So anyway.
Oh, good, because I was worried.
Okay. So anyway, I was scheduled to go on, and I had a lot of good material. And Chris was like, and Geno was supposed to go on the day before me and didn't. And Chris was like, I'll be honest with everyone here. Chris was like, Thomas called me or something. He was like, yo, can we move it to tomorrow? Because Geno is better off today or something. And I said, sure. And I was pissed because, like, I had all this information and I live in the moment. So, and I'm bad with, like, change, although I'm learning that change is good. All change is good. And I'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But
someone read Who Moved My Cheese?
Yes, The Secret. Okay, but let me just finish. So I said okay, and I'll tell you why I did. And maybe it's the detriment of me, and KarenPhilFan says that I do this a lot. I was deferential to Geno, even though I was better than him on the radio. And Chris knows that. But I was deferential to Geno, and they did ask me. I was deferential to Geno because in comedy, that's how it works. He's above me in stand-up. So I didn't want to like big-time Geno, okay? Even though I was better than him. And it all backfired like it always does. Because then I went on the next day, and with all this great information, but the radio station also broadcast Eagle games, and it was an exhibition. So I come on and I'm ready to have all these stories, and everyone's like, the Eagles, and I'm like, hey guys, I'm trying to talk about getting laid here. Okay, like, what are you talking about? And they're like, Eagles are on, and I'm like, okay. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I'm definitely and then I was on one time on Kid Chris with Wid, and I had to explain to Chris that like Wid deferential to Wid, like
Well, okay, if
this
you're,
is how it
you're
is in
talking about
comedy.
the
That-
legendary Wid,
That wears off.
everybody should be
I love Wid.
deferential to legendary Wid.
Yeah,
And anybody that doesn't know who that is, I'm not really the best one to give the biography, but maybe go
But
look him up.
What's great
because-
is about comedy. He's kind of a, well, he's exactly a prop comedian. He does props and puns, but he is indeed legendary. Everybody in comedy, from the top to the bottom, from Chris Rock to the guy who did an open mic last week, everybody knows Win. But outside of stand-up comedy, he's not as well known.
right.
So I could see being differential to him, but
Well, I'll tell you real quick an interesting thing that happened one time. I was hosting a rock music show, weekly rock music show in Philadelphia, and it was down the street from Wid's open mic at a comedy club in the city, and I had wrote something on a message board or something that was critical of that open mic, and at this particular club where I was hosting, I was like considered like the man and very cool, and Wid came and berated me and like admonished me in front of everyone at my spot. And because he gave me my start in comedy, I didn't back talk to him. I just took it.
I think that was the right move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, that kind of, you could be deferential to people in comedy, even if they're like wrong.
Even if they're Geno and you're Danny Ozen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but I would have, I would still be deferential to Geno because he's such a great comic, and when we played sound on MWOT, original MWOT, that's broadcast on Laughcast. We played sound of Geno. He used to do these like football betting things, and he complimented us. Like, I have no beef with Geno, even if he's a RedBar.
Well, yeah, I don't either. After being aware of Geno from when you guys were all on Kid Chris, and that was such a magical time. The next time I think I even heard about Geno Bisconte was RedBar, and I don't know if everybody else is like this. When you're a RedBar fan and you're watching Mike David do his craft, you believe every word that comes out of his mouth.
It's true.
I get mesmerized by Mike David. Mike David could tell me the sky is purple and it's raining frogs, and I'd be like, "Damn, Mike, shout out!"
But
You know what I
the,
mean?
you know what the
So-
difference is? Until he talks about you, and you know what he's saying is bullshit,
Right.
then you realize that, oh, that's what he's doing
Yeah,
with
that's
everybody.
true too.
But we
Right.
can all agree that Mike David is amazing
No,
at
he's
his job.
Absolutely.
And he can
Absolutely.
capture you and hold you for hours and hours and days and weeks and years.
There's so much conviction.
I-
in what
oh
he
my
says.
God,
Yeah,
yeah. And
very
it's-
convincing.
And I just love everything about Mike David so much. But so all I knew of Geno Bisconte then was little clips of things, and then what Mike would say about it, and I was like, hey, F this flat rogue fool. But recently, in like the last year, I started watching the Steel Toe Morning Show with Aaron Imhold, and I really like that. I'll tell you what, because mostly I don't listen to that. I got too wrapped up in like politics and all that kind of stuff. So to cut out the politics and all of that out of my life a little bit, I'm like, let me just find something that's like an old school radio show, like listening to the radio, drive time in the morning. Sorry, I have my MWOT cough. And that's what
Because I'm in the room.
Yeah, that's what Aaron.
I don't know if you remember one time on broadcast, you weren't coughing and you made a point to say that.
It's because you went there.
Yeah.
Probably
Okay.
allergic to you. So, and that's what Aaron does, is if you just put it on and listen to it, you don't have to sit there and watch it. I listen to it while I'm doing other things. It's very like old school feeling radio. Anyway, I tell you all that to tell you this. So Aaron has been involved in some things in the last year that if you don't know, you don't know. If you know, you know, fine. But he is friends with Geno Bisconte and Geno's now wife, Keanu.
She's very hot.
Something. Thompson?
Yeah.
Yeah, Keanu.
She's very
Thompson.
hot.
She is a very pretty girl.
Yeah.
Which, looking at them together, you're like, okay, Geno, whatever.
No,
I don't know
Geno's
what's going
always
on.
pulled a popular, attractive woman.
Good for
I've
him. I
always
think he's
heard that.
charismatic.
About,
Yeah.
you know, it's
Well, in seeing a little bit more of Geno through that and different things, he's really growing on me. And I keep finding myself being like, yeah, Geno's right. Oh, that thing that Geno Bisconte just said, that's absolutely correct. And that's a weird place to be and reconcile in my head. But the whole point is I really like Geno now. So
Very cool.
that's it. That's my Geno story.
Very cool. Yeah, I have really fun, just fun thoughts about Geno, and I also have like I don't know where it is, but I think I've showed you, PhilFan. I have this really cool show flyer with Geno as the headliner, then me, then a really great comic underneath me, and called Mike V.
oh yeah.
Yeah, who's amazing, and like used to come to our your first open mic that
Right,
you were
no,
throwing.
That was our thing.
yeah.
Mike Vecchione,
Yeah.
as he's known.
and
He was Mike V because Wid couldn't pronounce Vecchione.
oh, okay, cool. And Mike was so talented, and I'm sure that was like a startlingly low point of his career to be billed under me. But I didn't look at it like that. I was like really psyched to be with these two great comics, and yeah, I've worked with Geno a couple times, like 3-4 times, and part of like if we're associating with RedBar, like, and Geno's a RedBar fool, like
Well, so are we.
no,
No.
I don't think
No.
that. No, I don't think that. Even if I was a de facto fool, I was not a RedBar fool because he
Okay.
could have done that, and I would probably have more notoriety.
This was more an enemy of my enemy is my friend situation.
Yeah.
Where you guys were criticizing Matarese, and RedBar was an ally in that regard.
I love Mike, and I love what he did with me. I'm really glad that he was able to see through all that. But I like when and it's sad, but I like when Mike covers my friends. Like he's covered Foley, H. Foley of Are You Garbage. I think they covered Ian. I don't really watch RedBar as much anymore, not because I don't love it. I still a Scars Club subscriber, and I will be forever. It's just that I've said this before. Like I don't really relate well to the people Mike's covering.
Mm-hmm.
I
can relate to that.
Yeah, if he was covering like more East Coast comics, like he was at the time, or just topics like people I came up with stuff like that, like you always did before. But it's more of a Rogan kind of like Tony Hinchcliffe kind of West Coast thing.
So why does everyone think that actually Mike has stopped covering Joe?
Oh, well, that's a good point. You have a theory, right? Is that why you introduced that?
No, I mean I want to ask what everyone thinks before I state my theory.
In this crowd, it's better to be like, get to the bottom of it, say it, and then if we feel like we can react and don't want to be like clown later, we can answer.
I'm going to plead ignorance on this because I don't know what Mike's covering now. So
yeah,
maybe things have taken precedence because they're far more fascinating than Joe Matarese. There are a lot of people, a lot of I don't want to say fools, but I kind of have to. We're talking about RedBar. There are a lot of fools out there.
Yeah, I just kind of wonder why he just stopped. It could be just because of that. And Joe really didn't have enough of an interest. Not Joe from Joe's side, but from Mike's side. And he probably
Yeah.
saw that.
Well, I have a theory about this. There's just nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
Like Joe's not doing anything, and I think everything has been said.
And if you
I
do, it's
believe-
always the same thing. It's Groundhog Day with this idiot.
Yeah. What's your theory?
I don't know. I kind of thought that it was getting very heated after a while, for a certain point, and then it all just stopped. And I agree with what you're saying, that it seems like there was really nothing there. And I can understand someone just not being interested anymore, because I think we're all at that point now. But at the point when Mike stopped, it was kind of getting very heated. And I just can't help but wonder if Joe had said something or threatened Mike in some way about legal action, because it stopped kind of abruptly. And Mike alluded to that at one point, and I don't remember if anyone remembers hearing that.
I don't. Do you remember what he might have said? What Mike might have said that suggested that?
Or maybe Joe said something about it. Do you remember this, Karen?
Oh, well, I don't, it's multifaceted. The show gets interesting when I go, but that's the.
What are you saying? I've been talking for like an hour straight.
No. When I left, I noticed it got really interesting compared to when I was here. But that's besides the point. I never agreed with this thing that she's saying, but I did want it to be said. Mike David, I didn't even hear what she said, but I know this from hearing it before. Mike David would never stop communicating about anything on something like that. Like, he just left it alone on his own accord because it's over. Yeah. He didn't want to be a guy who beats a dead horse. Believe it or not. Believe it or not, they're the biggest fools. I'm sorry, hon. The biggest fools. He throws back into the ocean eventually.
Yeah. I can't imagine that there's any way Joe legally could have gone after Mike.
Right.
I think Mike is really smart about not crossing any lines that could get him in trouble.
I don't think that.
Don't you remember something like that coming out? Oh, it was a while ago, probably 2017 or 18, where Mike said or Joe said that Joe threatened him legally. You don't remember this?
Well, no.
Oh, I can see Joe doing
both
that.
of us.
100%. I mean, Joe's got a lawyer that would do anything for him. I can see like a cease and desist being sent or a threat. Just here's how I picture Joe Matarese, and I don't know the man.
You do.
You do.
You do.
He would think that any letter that comes on a lawyer's like letterhead is, and if the letter is like, "Hey, Mike David, stop being such a jerk," or "Look out, buddy, your ass is grass." I see Joe would think, "Oh, we got him. We got him,
that's
Steph.
Exactly right.
Here comes
That's
Steph.
exactly
We got him."
right.
So, but that I feel like
Lawyer in there.
maybe Mike would have just been like, I don't know that Mike would have necessarily stopped talking about a fool if there was still something worthy to report. You know what I mean?
Right.
3 years.
So I don't know. And to just stop and not tell anybody, I don't know. KarenPhilFan, I think it's not a bad theory, but I don't know if I fully agree with you on this.
I can understand. I think about it both ways.
And wasn't it? Sure, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Wasn't it shortly after that Mike got sick? I don't know. It's been
Around
so
that
long
time,
now.
I can't kind of place the timeline, but I think that he was really talking about him, and it kind of stopped cold turkey out of nowhere, or else I would completely agree with what you guys were saying. He was going in on him, and then it kind of just stopped very quickly. I mean, it wasn't because he was ill and then the show stopped.
Right.
I remember just thinking like, why isn't he bringing him up at all? And I remember hearing several years before that, and I'm surprised that you don't remember this, because I remember exactly where I was, when I heard this, that Joe threatened him in terms of legal action. You don't remember this? It was like
I
2000.
never bought into this.
I
I
believe
never
that the
bought
threat
into this.
happens.
No, I never
I'm
bought
trying to
into
remember
this,
what
and Mike
happened
David
at
would
that
never
point.
cower to a,
No,
a
he
Joe
wasn't, and he
Matarese
wasn't
threat.
cowering to it at all. He was just kind of laughing about it.
I stick with my original point, which is that Mike moved on from.
Yeah, I think there was other stuff to talk about. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know why he did, and every time RedBar posts a show, I always check the reasons, and I mean the liner notes, and the reasons.
The 8 million things separated by slashes.
Yeah, no, I love that. Like, I love that. Please never change the font, or as SoundCloud calls it, the theme. So what I want to say is that I often check Mike's shows, and I also tune in for 30, 40-minute blasts.
How do you get out? I've never been able to just like go into RedBar for like a couple minutes and then get out. If I say I'm gonna check out what's going on RedBar for 5 minutes, 10 hours later, like my mouth is all dried up and I'm hungry. Like, and I don't know where the time
I'll tell
has
you,
gone.
I've cultivated an existence outside of all
What?
this.
That exists?
Yeah, I've cultivated an existence. I talked about this on a recent podcast that I was a guest on, an expert guest on. I mentioned that I left this scene. And I left this scene because it turned a little dark. And I had a passion. I found my life's passion, music, and I do that now. But I'm doing this now because this is much needed. This is so needed. I truly believe that.
What about episodes 36 and 37? Are they needed in your opinion?
I would like to see the reaction to 38 first. Once 38 is out and about.
So you're going to do it Star Wars style?
Yeah. Oh, like, are we ending? This sounds
Oh,
like
no,
an
no,
out
no,
cue.
no,
Okay.
no,
It
no.
sounds like an out cue.
I think there's much to be said. KarenPhilFan
Yeah.
has a drop for us.
Yeah.
Do I?
Are you okay over there?
I am, I think.
No, I'm just teasing because I heard
Oh,
something
I
come out of your
guess,
phone.
yeah.
That's
It
all.
was funny. I do have an announcement actually. Very
Okay.
deceptive. I do have an announcement. I was sitting over here, and I actually Googled Blind Mike's contact information, and there's a phone number and an address with his last name and an email.
Okay, let's call
Should
him.
we just drive to his house?
Yeah, that's not weird.
Go ahead.
I'm kidding.
What's the
I
number?
feel weird. I'm just gonna pass it to you because I
What's the
feel
number?
I don't
Okay.
want to.
No
do
worries.
that.
No worries.
Are you're really gonna try to call Blind Mike?
Yeah.
What are you gonna say to Blind Mike?
No worries.
It's probably one of those Google lines, right?
Okay, we're calling Blind Mike from the Blind Mike Project and the Rich Kenahan show or something like that. Craig Minahan.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi, is this Mike?
Hey, who's this?
This is Karen from Philly. How are you?
I'm fine. How about you?
I'm doing real good. Mike, we're having a conversation here, and I totally respect everything you're doing. We're having a conversation. We're having episode 38 of our podcast, the Monumental Waste of Time podcast. Are you familiar with it?
Monumental what?
Waste of Time podcast. It's about Joe Matarese. Well, no, I'm not leaving. If this is the wrong,
It's not him.
okay. I'm sorry.
All right.
No, but I still want to have this
It's
conversation
not him.
Why?
It's not him.
because I want to know some things.
No, it's not him.
It's not
It's
him,
not
but
him.
you still might have an
It's not
opinion.
Time.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Big mistake.
Okay, no problem. Do we have it? That was
It would be a Massachusetts area code, not a
Can I show
Lancaster
this
County.
to you? Can I show it?
No.
Let me show it to Steve. Oh, you gotta let me.
It said Blind Mike's Pottery.
Okay. All right. No
Sorry.
worries. No
That's
worries.
okay. It was a
Listen.
little.
Listen, guys.
We could have asked the blind man what kind of pottery he does.
Yes. Okay. Okay,
He
but that
probably thought it
what I wanted to show you guys was just pick up the phone in life,
Mhm.
cold call people,
And
and
you
get
can make great things happen.
yeah.
That's true. Okay.
Okay, so all right, I'm glad that happened. Do we have any information on
I
him?
don't think
It's
so.
it's Mike Geary, Geary, I believe.
Oh.
Can I just put this out there though? I don't really want to call one.
Okay, we will.
Yeah,
call-
I don't care if we call or don't call Blind Mike.
We can. Is it very important to you?
No, not at all.
It's not important to me. But when someone says, "Here's my Mike's number," I'm
I
gonna
know.
pick up the phone and call.
Well, yeah. Fair
Okay.
enough. I think that was a good route to test.
Okay. Just give us a little insight into. I'm a doer, can do attitude I bring to life. And it's just but what were we talking about right before that? Because I was into that.
Well, it involved Joe Matarese and RedBar. And
Okay,
the abandonment.
yeah. The abandonment of everyone involved. Everyone abandoned Karen. Everyone abandoned me. I don't know
Karen
how.
abandoned MWOT
I don't know how I'm here.
and did her own thing, as Joe recommended.
Oh, right. So Joe was saying, Karen, do your own thing.
And Karen most definitely did her own thing.
And I
How
did
many
my own
episodes
thing.
of Bev do we have?
Bird's View has 8. And we also have 2 rock projects with Steve Rees. That's some of the newer stuff we're doing. You can find on our SoundCloud or YouTube pages. But don't feel compelled because no one else watches, so don't.
That's
But
not true.
no, it's fine. It's fine.
Something occurred here.
Yeah.
A+.
I'm just thinking about the fact that you called a man that does pottery and you told him you respect everything he's doing. and probably gave him a little boost in his day, and then you turned it into some bullshit that he just didn't even need, man.
Did he sound angry at the end?
A little bit, I
Well, I
thought.
was like, can we keep it going? Because I mean, it was a showbiz moment.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to save it. And we could been like, maybe have been like, I like Stern, or I
But
like.
that must have felt so good for him to just get a
Aw.
random call and somebody's like, I really respect what you're doing.
I'm totally amenable to calling him back.
Oh my god.
No, don't mess with
Yeah.
that man.
I'm sure he values the respect he gets from the pottery world, the world of the vasery.
Let's call him back.
No,
Yes.
absolutely
Yes,
not. I
I think
forbid
we
it.
should.
I
Don't
forbid
do
it.
No, let's.
Don't do
I
it.
want no part to this.
Don't do
Disavow,
Don't
disavow.
do it.
Why?
Don't do it. Don't
Because
bother.
leave that man alone.
No, he just don't do it. Don't
Either
do
he
it. Your
blocked the
name is
number.
on the phone. Just don't do it. He's getting when you're calling. He's seeing your name. Don't do it. Just don't do it. You never know. People get paranoid and.
He probably had to get up and
He's
get out
Googling
the
Karen from
freaking
Philly.
Maybe he's blind. Maybe he's
He
not.
put
but-
on the dark glasses, grabbed the dog, walked across the room to get the phone just for you to screw with him with the wrong number. You're gonna put him through that again? Leave that man alone. Let him question.
Well,
Later
he's
on,
Googling everyone right now.
No, he's
and,
not.
and also, I mean, he's so brave. How
Man.
brave it is to make pots.
Can you imagine
No,
somebody's like,
he's-
I really respect everything that you're doing. Oh wait, no, F you. I don't even know you. You suck. That's cold, man. That's cold. That's one blind Mike whose day we ruined.
Okay, so what's next? What do
My
we have?
fault.
What's that?
My fault.
It's funny.
I
It's funny.
take.
It's fine.
No, I'm glad that occurred. Someone's day may have been made.
Awkward.
Although a flower pot may not have been made because it was disrupted
Yes, that's right. The whole thing could have just.
by an erroneous phone call. Yeah, it all sank into
It
the.
all sank.
I'm determined to get in touch with Blind Mike at this time. Just to.
The real
Blind
blind
Mike
Mike?
Yeah, that's
How
it.
are you going to get that?
He's really popular.
Yeah,
What's
You're
his-
not getting.
he
you're
does
not
a few
talking
good
to
shows.
him.
But this is not my first time hearing this name. I don't know where I've heard it, and I just.
At this table. We
Oh.
talked about this on episode 36,
All right,
which
well,
is
self-referential now.
where you also,
Yeah.
geez,
Yeah.
where you also went ahead and said how much respect you have for the unsighted, whatever.
Yes, it's because these stories are always going to align and replicate because I have a lot of conviction.
You also insisted on calling Joe's children offspring. I don't know where that came from.
Okay, the offspring of Stephanie and Joseph Constantino Matarese. Is that it?
I'm sure we have something else. No, you said you've been holding things back.
Yeah.
You had things to say that you have been holding back, KarenPhilFan.
Yeah.
About what?
I don't know. It was a
Do that.
mystery.
Do that.
Now, you don't have to say those. I would understand if you didn't want to. But you said you had a lot to say about Matarese and where he is now. Have you said all of that?
Well, I
Have we
think the
exhausted?
fact he doesn't learn from his experiences are definitely it's troubling. I think and I think you had said this before when I was going off on him a little bit. The fact that he lies for his
Mhm.
benefit is a
Mhm.
big turnoff. And I don't know. I just, you brought his relationship in before, and I'm just wondering what people kind of think about that. What's the current state of their relationship?
Well, I
Does
don't
anyone have
follow
anything
him
to say
anymore.
about that?
I don't follow him anymore, so I don't know anything about Joe.
And you were making comments before about how, you and A Plus were kind of disagreeing, whether Stephanie was stopping him from doing things.
That's always.
And A Plus disagrees and feels that she was very
That's always.
supportive. I kind of agree with both sides of that. I think she kind of is supportive up to a certain point, but when there's no money coming in,
That point is $70,000.
Right, exactly.
Is that still the nut though? I mean, like there would be
Yeah,
inflation.
with inflation, you think, yeah,
It's got to be like 85.
100K.
Yeah, like
He's not
generous.
making anywhere near that.
When he gets private gigs,
I don't think, but even with the few private gigs he gets.
Do we
doesn't-
know he gets private gigs?
Yeah, he posts once in a while. I did see recently in the past couple of months that he did post a private gig.
So we know
How
he
much do they
says
make
he
for a
does
private
private gigs.
No, corporate gigs do pay. I mean,
How much
tens
would
of
that
thousands.
pay? Really?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So he could get $10,000 for doing a private gig?
At least I believe, yeah. But
Phil fans like sign me up. I can
but
do
here's
that.
the scam with having
That's what
private
they're doing right
gigs.
now.
You go on your website, you're not booked for a certain weekend, so you post private gig
yeah.
to make it look like
Well,
you're
he's
working.
actually taking a video while he's at some
Oh,
kind of
okay,
a thing. But then again,
Okay.
that could totally be, you could stand anywhere and say it's a
Right.
private gig.
Right.
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 And I agree with you about questioning this because he does kind of expand things in his favor because he feels and knows he's such a failure that's kind of the lying thing that he does, where he expands things to make it look far more favorable than it is. And he's done this so many times. And he thinks that people don't know it. He also, I can't remember what this was exactly. Go ahead, maybe you remember that he would post something online and say that someone responded to him and it made it look like they did. Or someone
yeah.
famous. Like, I can't remember this
Yeah,
exactly, but
he,
help me out here.
He posted something and then forgot to log out and log into his fake
That was
account
one thing, yeah.
and told himself to say hello to somebody or something or whatever. He would do that a lot. Yeah, he's got fake accounts. He does lie about everything. He did have a bunch of paid for Twitter followers and all that kind of stuff. But I'm wondering now if these private gigs, maybe he's a waiter at a banquet hall. So when there's a wedding,
Oh my
he
God.
walks around with trays of hors
Yeah.
d'oeuvres. Can you cover
That would make more sense. So Joe recently went on, I believe it was TikTok, and he uploaded a video. It was AI Joe saying, "These are my top 3 Philadelphia Phillies players ever." And he asked for people to do the same, to respond in the comments. And they did in droves. More than 1,000 comments, I believe.
Right. So I have to wonder, are those comments actually people that he's paid for to comment? Because I think he's done a little bit of that to increase his followers and do things like that. And the other part of it is,
But they were coming up with actual, I'm sorry.
yeah, no, that's okay.
They were coming up with actual lists of Phillies players who they admire.
Right. So it's possible that they are real people, and that Joe knows how to stumble across whatever's current. So he knows that AI is a thing right now, and he, figures that out. He might be good at figuring that out himself, or someone else is telling him. So I'm not even too sure that he even understands what AI is, but he knows that that's what people are talking about. So whatever people are talking about, he's gonna try and get on that and glom on that, just like if it was the Super Bowl or something even that he had nothing to do with, he would put that hashtag on or find a way to glom on out of desperation of getting noticed and getting followers. And that is what he's doing, because he doesn't know how to do anything else.
Well, you say he doesn't understand what AI is. I don't think he understands what I is.
That's true. He does not have any intelligence whatsoever. It's sad. And I've never met anybody who was that bad.
Oh,
I just
Lord.
haven't. Uh-oh.
I'm
Well,
scrolling through X, formerly Twitter, and I see I don't have like an X account anymore. I'm just looking at Joe Matarese's X, formerly Twitter account.
Yeah.
I don't even understand. The last time he tweeted or whatever, April 22nd.
Yeah.
And the tour, I heard you say this, but I didn't realize really what you were saying.
Water.
It's in the Water
Yeah.
tour.
Yeah, but he spells it. And
Yeah.
here's my problem with this.
WOOD.
Yes.
So
That's supposed to be
I
a
know.
phonetical spelling
Right,
of the way
exactly.
people in the Philadelphia, the
That's-
Delaware
yeah,
Valley
right.
pronounce water.
that's how I
Right.
pronounce water.
Right.
No, it's
It's
not.
water.
No,
I
it's
say
not.
water. I've always said water. Have I not? I think I try not to, and if I'm thinking, I'll
If I
say
were
water.
to spell it phonetically the way people in certain parts say it, that he's trying to convey, I would say it's WORE/DER.
Yeah, this is another right, but he makes these types of mistakes where I looked at that and I didn't get it, to be honest. And I would have gotten it if you spelled it that way. So she had to explain it to me, and I was like, "Oh, of course." And then I said, "Why is he spelling it
Yeah,
like that?"
it's misspelled, but that's the
And
popular.
that's the type of thing that he does. And this is exactly like what I mean.
Yeah.
There are
And-
mistakes, and no one's helping him.
Also, embracing the underclass.
Exactly.
How is that a path to success?
I feel like though,
Well,
and hear me out. Okay, I feel as though
Hear me out. This,
if you
but this.
if you spell water like that,
What-
and the only
Water.
places you're performing are everything he's got hashtagged. Hashtag South Jersey, hashtag New Jersey. He's hashtagging Preston and Steve, Philly, Wildwood, Cherry Hill, like South Jersey or South Philly. All of those people know what it means if you say it's in the WOODER.
Yes, but that's a misspelled phonetic pronunciation
Okay,
of
but
that word.
I think
It's water. To
listen, and
humans.
also can I say this? We know that Joe is a spaz at
Yes.
naming
Yeah.
tours and whatever, Mr. What's his
Mr.
name?
Jurgens, the poster
The
trunk.
poster trunk. So yeah, I don't know.
I think you do.
I feel as though he's just bad, just dumb. This is just
Well, we
dumb.
know
Like I wish
that.
he would have
We
listened
know
to
that.
any of us. And
He can't. He's incapable of learning, as you pointed out.
I
Karen
feel bad saying that. You just said something about his intelligence, and then you said it. And I mean, I actually feel really bad about saying that. And normally, I would get the sense that someone has some hope. And I'm not trying to be mean right now, but I just don't understand how. And I know this sounds mean, but I'm honestly not trying to be mean. I've never
You
seen this
encountered
before. No,
such
I've
a
never
thick
seen
skull.
this. Yeah, I don't know if it's I'm just trying to really honestly get to the bottom of it without trying to be mean. Is it just being extremely stubborn, or it's not even? I can't even blame it on some type of a learning deficiency or something.
I think you can. His inability to learn is rooted in something.
Yeah, but it's not only that. That's what I'm saying. Like, I can't quite put my finger on what this is because I've never seen it before, and I just think
It's a unique case.
It's a very unique case. I just don't understand what's going on.
I didn't mean to take the conversation away from it.
No, it's okay.
You guys were talking about Joe and AI, right?
Yeah.
But let me just say one thing before we get back to that. My heart just shattered into a million pieces because Roseanne Barr follows Joe.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
Is it the real one?
Maybe not. I don't know. I don't mess with X, formerly Twitter, so maybe not. I have to stop reading this. It's distracting. Do you guys remember when Joe did his podcast in air quotes with Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis?
Oh yeah.
That's the type of the misleading stuff that I was talking about. Thank you.
And we all called him out. We're like, dude,
That's the type
we
of
know
thing.
this is fake. So once he got called out about it, he was like, duh, I know. Everybody knows it's fake. I wasn't trying to present it like it's real.
Yes, you were. Yes,
and
you
we're
were.
all like, yes, you were, you stupid ass. But this is what, like, he thinks he needs this instant gratification. Like, he needs something to blow up immediately. So can I relay the story of when I told him about Stage It? Do you remember this story? So while we were doing MWOT, the Monumental Waste of Time podcast, I knew about this thing, Stage It, because there's other people that like I follow and they would go on stage and do these little shows. And I thought it was very cute. And so I said to Joe, I sent him an email and I was like, there's this thing where you charge money and you do a performance and you don't even have to leave your house. And I laid it all out for him to get an audience, to prepare for this, to have someone doing the filming. And, why not make that a part of your life? Like, it was really just look into this. Joe, here's a thing you've never heard about. Maybe check it out. I don't know. 20 minutes later, I had an invitation to Joe Matarese's, I just said it. What's it called?
Stage
It.
Yeah.
And he was like, off and running. And then when he did it all wrong and screwed it up, he was like, oh, this is stupid. I'm never using this again. Well, duh, ass, you didn't take 5 minutes to find out what it was. You just heard, oh, this is a thing that people will pay me for, and jumped into it. He wasn't even using it to perform at first. He was sitting in his house like he's doing a Periscope. And young people, that was the thing that used to exist where it was just short videos. It was TikTok, but in America. So he thought people were going to pay him for that. And that's what he does. So he saw this app that lets you have this video of these famous people and make it look like they're talking to you. And he jumped on that.
And that's what he did with podcasting. Live streaming, because he was a guest on Kevin Brennan's Misery Loves Company show. And he saw all of the super chats coming in.
Yeah.
And he thought, well, I'm going to revive my podcast.
That's what he does.
And
if Kevin Brennan's getting super chats, why wouldn't I
all
get
this
super
guy
chats?
is doing is talking.
Right.
Well, no, Kevin Brennan, he's a boob, but he does have the skill of stirring things up.
Oh yeah, Kevin Brennan, I think, definitely knows his audience and knows what they're looking
And
for.
he's in on his own
have to work
joke.
too hard.
Joe Matarese has never been in on his own joke.
Right. So yeah, there's that. And another win for the Joe.
You're going with that?
I'm keeping it, yeah.
Okay, another win for the Joe.
I reached out to Blind Mike Project on Twitter. And I told him we're recording live. And I provided my number, and he can call me right now.
Now, is this a TTY number?
That would
No, it's like
then how's he gonna call you back? Is he how's he gonna see the numbers?
oh, huh.
I think he has a guy. Probably the same guy who responded to your comment about, well, actually, there was a show about Joe Matarese, and I'm sick of people not realizing this when they want to talk about him. And, well, Mike was just saying that, there's not one now or something like that, I think was the response. That's not what he was saying. He said there has never been.
Right.
No, I think that okay, I'll take this as a learning experience. I assumed that there would be some device which would translate my tweet.
Dude, of course there is. I'm just messing with you.
Oh,
Of course.
okay.
What do you think? He doesn't make a phone call?
No, he tweets frequently. It's
Okay, no, all right, cool. Here's something I'm also gonna do. I'm gonna offer this. He's just Mike to me. I don't need to pick his leading physical
The thing that he calls himself.
Yeah, that's what he's known
That's
as.
fine. That's
From
fine.
the Kirk Menahan show. Blind Mike from the Kirk Menahan.
Do you think it's wrong to call him Blind
No,
Mike?
but it's not rolling off my tongue.
His show is called the Blind Mike Project.
Okay, right. I know. Mike, hello. Would be fine for me.
I'm sorry, I'm just going through
I'm not
the
gonna go
list
to-
of all of the nicknames that people in his universe would come up with for you.
Okay.
And none of them complimentary. And nobody would be like, maybe we should just leave that part out. She is who she is. Let's just call
my
her
name
Karen.
is Karen. Yeah. Okay.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
All right. Well, I'm sure they'll be fine. Okay, whoever they are.
Yes, the
As a-
Dabbleverse is very welcoming. They're very inclusive, and they are really a safe space for everyone.
Okay, that's I can pick up a tinge of sarcasm in your voice, but I'm a believer in the best of everyone, and I think that.
But we're talking about the Dabbleverse. There is no best to be had. These are blah 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 blah. I'm just gonna stop.
Come on.
No, I don't
No,
want to.
say it,
I don't
say
want
it,
bad
say it.
things to happen in my life. Everybody's great. I love everybody. Okay, except for I do have. Okay, so there's this one idiot called Carl Hamburger. We were talking about WATP earlier.
And you also talked about Carl on a previous episode.
Yeah.
The Yet Unseen, I believe, episode 36.
Probably. And I talked about how I had, today, how I talked about how I have a non-sexual crush on Geno Bisconte that used to apply to Carl Hamburger. Because, man, I looked at him. I'm not completely familiar.
All right. Yeah. But you saw something.
He seemed smart. He seemed funny. He has a group of people around him, and he is in control of everything that's happening. Everybody gets a chance to speak. Everybody has a chance to put their point across, and he keeps everything moving, and he's very good at this. And this is a quality that really turns me on. And I look for this kind of quality in a man. So I really liked Carl Hamburger. I thought he was cool.
So what you just said there is you saw a little bit of me.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's what I liked about him. Because the way that you used to control the situation on the passive aggressive hour was really hot. You were so good at that. Really good at it.
Nobody cared. Nobody listened.
No.
That's so
Keep
super
going.
duper not true.
No, the entire fan base is in this room.
Oh, come on.
No.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, go ahead.
So I liked Carl and I thought that was cool. But then I start watching a little bit more. And he's talking about Aaron Imholt. And I'm like, I don't care. You don't like Aaron Imholt.
Steel toe.
That's fine. Steel toe
Steel
morning
toe.
show guy. I'm like, okay.
Is that about a physical calamity of his, or?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I don't know. Yeah,
I've never heard it described like that.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know.
Well, you're familiar with steel toe boots, correct?
Yeah,
And
Okay.
I believe that the name of the show predated his residency on that radio station.
all right, cool.
So he inherited the Steel Toe Morning Show on, I think, Rocket 91 or something like that.
2.3 hours in, my trademark humor makes an impact. Okay.
And I think it referred to you're going to work, you listen to the radio.
Yeah.
yeah.
Steel Toe Morning Show.
So Aaron, like I said earlier today, Aaron's cool, old school style show, radio show, some topical stuff, little light politics and whatnot.
Just doing his thing.
Humor, just doing his thing. Dude's fine. It's great. Well, I start hearing this Carl Hamburger just talking smack about Aaron. And I'm like, what is your problem? Why are you? At first, I don't care if they don't like each other. Okay, that's fine. Let's watch this little rivalry.
Well,
Okay,
now,
no,
we should point out that Aaron had been a guest several times on Carl's
Yeah,
program.
I thought they were like friends.
Yeah.
So maybe something happens and they're no longer friends. It happens. My point is, I don't care if you don't like Aaron Imholt. Where he started just getting uglier and uglier with the things he's saying about Aaron. Then we see he also talks about Opie. You ever heard of Opie and Anthony? Well, the Opie part of that,
Yeah.
Carl Hamburger and his band of brain children that he has around him were talking about Opie. So listen to this. I don't know if I'm going to do this justice. Steve, you may have to help me.
I'll try.
They're talking about Opie and they're like, let's watch this clip of Opie. And I'm like, okay, I'm in it with you. Let's watch the clip of Opie. So Opie's, I don't remember exactly what Opie was saying, but let's say it was, here's Opie. Opie says, well, I have a red ball and the sky is blue and today's going to be a nice day. That's the clip. They cut back to Carl and the brain children and they say, oh my God, can you believe that Opie just said the sky is black and my ball is purple and today's the worst day ever? I'm making it up to exaggerate. But that's what they're doing. They're disingenuous C words who just lie and make stuff up and they're freaking out of control. Now, cut to. So Aaron had some scandals going on in the last year.
Steel Toe.
Aaron Imholt. You with me? Is this good? Are you guys into this?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not into it, but I'm listening. I mean, these people are like, okay, go ahead. No, but
they're the worst.
No.
They're the downfall of our civilization. Really, if you think about it.
They're perfectly fine.
Geez,
No,
they are why we can't have nice things as a culture, as a society, as a species. So Aaron had some troubles. Let's just call it the troubles. And so then they all started attacking Aaron for no reason.
No, there was a reason.
What's the reason? Because he had these troubles?
Because there are allegiances in
right.
the Hackverse.
That's what I'm getting to.
Okay, so continue.
So Aaron had these troubles with another guy that's known on YouTube. I won't even say his name because he is the biggest loser, biggest degenerate piece of garbage that ever existed. I will not speak the man's name in front of a microphone. Aaron had troubles with him. Well, they all aligned with the degenerate loser and turned on Aaron. And okay, it doesn't matter. Everybody's bored. Okay, it boils down to Carl then started another show called This Little Piggy. Do you know what This Little Piggy is about? Steel Toe. His entire existence, him and Fat Trick, my face is melting. Their entire existence is just talking smack about Aaron Imholt. And Aaron Imholt is over here like, hey, here's what's happening in the news and how's everybody doing? And here's my golf game and, this and that. And come on out to Stoney's and $2 Tuesday. You know what I mean? But their entire lives now revolve around hurting him. So I tell you all that to tell you this. I have no crush on Carl Stupid Hamburger. I think he's really a disingenuous giant C word. Like if I was going to see him next Tuesday, I'd be like, see you next Tuesday.
This is how I'm going to help you.
I don't need help. I'm just telling you what's going on in my life.
I know.
You
No.
wanna-
I'm going to help you. What we're going to do is change it so that you aren't talking about their lives. They're talking about yours.
I don't want that. I don't want that. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? That's the worst thing that could happen. Because they're all so stupid. So, okay, what are they going to do? Play a clip of me saying, hey, my cup has
You're
coffee
bigger
in
than
it.
that, is my point.
Oh, I'm a much better human being. I could be
No, I meant more
homeless
famous.
and destitute.
What? I meant more famous. I don't know if you're a better person than them, but I'm
No, I'm
kidding.
pretty sure that I am.
I know, I'm funny. But the thing is, we're gonna flip the script here, and
Yeah, please get me out of this.
yeah, first of all, I'll get you out of this bit.
How's it a bit when I'm telling you what's going on in my life?
Not a
Poor
bit.
Steve has to hear this crap every day when I'm talking about how this is what's wrong with the world. Don't you see, man? I'm back in my Visconti mode.
Okay.
And I'm a big
this is
fan of
what's
the
wrong.
Dabbleverse and many of the actors within it.
Yeah, this guy will
No, he's the
sit
most
and watch all
talented
this
person.
stuff.
But that's a whole other issue that you guys are watching this. These people need to be watching you.
Exactamundo. They could all learn a thing from my husband over here.
Well, they will after some of the things that have been said.
But don't you see how these are people that are grown men, allegedly grown men, and this is how they've chosen to make a living, is just talking smack about another man and trying to ruin his life. It's so no. Are you trying to ruin anybody's life?
I'm not trying to ruin anybody's
They
life,
are
no.
specifically trying to destroy another human being's livelihood and ability to ever have a livelihood.
And also, I'll agree with you on this, while trying to do the same job that he does effectively.
Why not just leave him alone?
They criticize him for he's just after the goal. He has a goal.
Right.
Certain amount of money he has to make every day. We're $75 short of the goal. Come on, somebody make it happen. Streamlabs, PayPal,
Venmo, super chats from
Rumble
Rant.
Rants. As they're criticizing him, they're receiving
They're
super
taking
chats.
Super chats.
Yes.
Yes.
I just
Yes.
want to. I'm allowed to say what I'm about to say.
Executive decision.
No. If out of this, I'm not in this to make any money. So I'm just saying this. If these fine folks here want to do anything with this, they're allowed to do that. I don't want any take of that. And if there is a take of mine, please donate it to Operation Smile, my favorite charity. And that's it. Like, we're just here to set the record straight. And that's what's going on here.
Where do you think money will come from?
I don't know. But it seems like we're going to flip the script.
No, we're so not.
Yeah.
We're so not.
Okay, good.
Because these guys are completely ensconced in this world of people
They're not
that
that
throw
big.
money at. They don't have to be. They're all making enough money to live, at least.
Yeah, you carve out an audience for yourself.
And
now.
Well,
you know,
that's good for them.
Just
Okay,
like you guys did.
but
yeah.
it's not good to, whether you're making money or not, have an existence where the whole reason you turn on a microphone is to dog somebody else just because that's what's easy for you and that's how you make money.
No.
That's not anything we ever
That's
did.
their hustle. We don't.
How is destroying a human being a hustle? This is what I'm saying. This is the downfall of civilization. This is the end of our culture and our society.
I'm not in this world. I never was in this world. I never was in this world. I never was in this world. I really don't want any part of this world.
Well, don't have a part in it. I'm telling you what's going on.
Okay, no, I'm just saying, like,
But
I like
Matarese
my
has
music.
entered this world, so he's
Yeah.
become part of the Dabbleverse,
He
and
tried.
therefore, the culture that preceded the Dabbleverse is.
Joe would participate in that same exact thing if he
Absolutely.
could make
Joe,
money.
does Joe know
Joe would
about
wait
It
his
would
this?
be
pants.
like,
Yeah.
it's a
Does Joe know
morality
about
thing.
this?
He didn't
Do we
care.
still have his number? We'll call him.
Oh, I
No.
don't.
Do I still have his number? I lost it. One time I accidentally posted it online, but
Oopsie.
it was by accident. Um,
I'm sorry. Why do you want to call Joe Matarese?
to see if does he know about this exciting Dabbleverse?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, he
sure that
knows
he does.
because-
He went on
yeah.
Kevin Brennan.
Yeah, he was part of
He's-
MLC briefly. I think he was a semi-regular,
Yeah, until
like 2 days a week or
until
something.
somebody called A+ super chat. Wasn't that his last one?
Possibly.
Does Joe still have a Google number? Totally calling that right now.
I doubt that he would. Why would he keep that?
I think he still does.
Why would he answer it? Well, we'll all find out together.
We'll all
won't we?
find out together. It's long overdue that me and Joe have a discussion, and I know what to say.
If you tell him that Steve is here, it's not gonna.
No, it's fine. Joe, hi.
I'm not here. Just
No. I will. You always want to announce.
Well, you don't do that initial. Well, okay.
No, I will.
He'll
I know how
hang
to-
up right away.
No, I know.
conversely, he might see something. He might think, "Oh, maybe that's something I can use to my advantage. Get my name out there again."
I think that my fans would prefer that I text Joe right now and
Yeah,
ask
I'm
him.
sure they would. They'd also prefer that you strip.
So would I. But
I vote no.
yeah,
I
no,
don't know as
I'm
well.
kidding.
So
I'm kidding. Yeah.
Feel like streaking.
Yeah, I do. Sometimes, as a trans woman, sexuality is a big part of being trans.
I identify as blonde. Sorry.
Sexuality is a big part of being trans. Always has been, and I've been prone to explore things sexually, but I haven't lately. I'm hitting a dry spell or something.
All right, Karen, let's
I'm
take
getting
a little
hooked.
shift.
I'm getting the
Let's
hook.
take a pauserino and a
getting the
shifterino.
I'm getting the hook.
Yeah, you're getting the hook.
Mm.
Yep.
Sandman's come out.
Yes, well, you put her in bed right now.
All right. Well, that sounds good.
No,
But
I didn't mean it like that. I'm alone.
well, I said we'd vamp, and we did.
All right, this has been the Monumental Waste of Time podcast. I'm May Plus, your co-host. It's always a pleasure. Hello, darling. I love you so much. And we were joined today, of course, by our beautiful hostess, Karen from Philly. Say goodbye, Karen.
Bye,
And
everybody.
of course, the handsome, gorgeous, talented, sexy voice, handsome beard, this speckled bull of American broadcasting, Steve Rees. Steve, you want to say goodbye?
Yeah, ask him.
And our very, very, very special guest, the one, the only KarenPhilFan.
Bye.
There we go. Take us out. Have a nice day.
All right, we did it, sir.